He lasts over half an hour and does everything I love, but at the end, he always looks down and asks, "Really?" He does everything I love. He never skips foreplay and loves pleasuring me. He is really good at talking dirty. He is amazing at building up the tension and sensations. He lasts at least half an hour every time, and that is real short for him. He is very well endowed, and he makes me feel so loved and desired each and every time. I try really hard to get up to par with him, and he never fails to outdo me. He is unmatched. I do not mean to compete with him, laughing out loud, but I really want to emphasize that he has genuinely rocked my world every single time. But every time we are all done and cuddling with each other, he asks me if it was good. I always nod and excitedly say yes, and he just looks down and says, "Really?" I try so hard to explain how good he is. I normally say things like, "Can't you tell how amazing that was for me?" Or, "How are you a real-life human being? I feel like you are using superhuman abilities on me." But he does not believe that he is any good. I think a huge reason he doesn't feel like he is good is that I almost never reach a climax during our time together. But there was something else he didn't realize. This has always been a really hard thing for me to do. Because of habits I formed long ago, I am only used to reaching that point with a specific type of stimulation that only I can do with my hands. It is very hard for him to replicate that, especially since his hands are so much bigger than mine, and I only ever reach that peak when he pleasures me. But even then, I have to try really hard to do it, and sometimes I would really rather just lie back and enjoy the feeling. It is still amazing, even if I do not end up reaching a climax. All this to say, I almost prefer not reaching that point and just letting him do his magic to me. But I think he has the belief that if he cannot help me reach a climax, he is not doing good. Yes, I have explained all of this to him, but I think he still holds that belief. I try to give him praise and recognition during our intimate moments. And in the moment, it seems like it boosts his confidence a lot. But at the end, we always have the same conversation with me trying and failing to convince him that it was amazing. How can I get it through his head that he is doing an amazing job? That is where the original poster left off, but the comment section had a lot to say. The top reply, from user Gacito, with 133 upvotes, put it bluntly. It is extremely tough for a partner who actually cares to know that they were unable to help their partner reach an orgasm. It feels great when your partner obviously does, so when they do not, it immediately makes you question if they are actually enjoying the intimacy, or if you are doing something wrong. You can try and explain it to him, but only he can really understand that your body does not work that way easily. He will have to come to terms with the fact that he is doing nothing wrong and that you are enjoying yourself. There is nothing you can do other than explaining the situation to him and assuring him of his skill, preferably sometime outside of those intimate moments. That was Gacito. Let me know in the comments what you think the boyfriend needs to hear to believe her. 1 month after our baby was born, my fiancé asked for a threesome with his coworker. So my partner, 24-year-old male, comes to me, 23-year-old female, a few days ago and states that a girl he works with, that he is also friends with, says she wants a threesome with us. Mind you, they have texted back and forth since, and he tends to be sneaky about it. He went to put something in the fridge and took 30 minutes. When I asked what took so long, he was texting on his phone and said it had only been a minute. This continued throughout the whole day. He proceeds to ask her who she wants to sleep with more, him or me. She said both, and they continued the conversation. Well, he comes home from work that afternoon and states he's thought about this topic for a while now, and he has a fantasy that he wants me and him to sleep with someone else, not separately, but together, and that we would both benefit from it. I had surgery 4 days ago, and he told me before they put me under that he will not apologize for who he is and the fact that he wants to sleep with other people. This has had me pretty emotional for the last week. And then it got even more complicated. I told him that I did not think it was a good idea because I was not okay with someone else touching what is supposed to be mine. He claims it would not affect our relationship, that it would benefit us both, and that we would still come home to each other and only love one another, and that nothing would change. I told him that to me, if another woman touched him, our relationship would be over. He proceeds to ask, what do we need to do then? I asked, was he really going to let that decide our relationship? Because we just had a kid together only a month ago. We argued about this situation for a couple of days, and he pretty much told me in the end that he would always think about it, and I'd have to be okay with that, and that I had to accept who he was. He said he does not want to date other people, and he wants me. He claims he does not care if we do this with another man to be fair to me, and I could possibly see this happening in the future. But why does it hurt so bad to think about it? I don't understand why it makes me feel like I'm not good enough for him. That's where the original poster left off, but the community had a lot to say about her situation. The top reply, from u/razzledazzle626, with 628 upvotes, put it bluntly. Easy answer, hard action. You have to break up. The two of you are not compatible, and he's a completely terrible human for waiting until you are engaged and going under anesthesia to tell you he wants to sleep with other people. Strong words from u/razzledazzle626. Another reader, u/businessmastodon97, with 412 upvotes, warned the original poster, if he's not cheating on you now, he will be very soon. The first thing you should do tomorrow is figure out how to leave him. Then talk to a lawyer about setting up child support. Your relationship is over. That was u/businessmastodon97. Then u/Tamanella Grinderfall, with 251 upvotes, added this. You buried the lead. You had a baby a month ago, and now because your attention is no longer 100% on him, and he's not getting his physical needs met on demand, he wants to sleep with other women. This is not a man that wants to be a parent or a husband. This is a selfish pig who only cares about his needs. End of reply from u/Tamanella Grinderfall. Let me know in the comments which side you're on. Up next. Our daughter's blood pressure was 83/43, and that's when my husband told me I had to leave her. Our teenager started having vision loss on Monday. We got a crappy doctor in the ER who refused to do an MRI. Her vision has been slowly decreasing. I can't tell you how many doctors we saw before getting in for an emergent MRI. It took a day or two because she has to be sedated due to medical reasons. Her pediatrician covered every potential option he could before the MRI so we would be set to go as soon as it was done. She got the MRI on Friday. I took her and her little sister for the MRI because we homeschool, so I had the little one with me anyway, right? Thankfully, Daddy decided it would be best if he was there, so he worked a half day and met us there. It was rather chaotic. The anesthesiologist pulled us aside, leaving the little sister with the big sister and the nurses as the big one was trying to wake up, to tell us that while they had no other info, and this was a little unorthodox, the radiologist read it and they were having to send us to the ER to transfer us to a bigger hospital. They diagnosed a cerebellar stroke. She became popular. Daddy took the little one home to pack and get everything ready. We live in the opposite direction of the hospital they were transferring her to. But that was just the beginning of the nightmare. They stayed home Friday night. I went to the hospital with my teenager. It was 4 a.m. until we got to her room. The MRI was done yesterday. Dad and the little one got on the road as soon as possible, but storms made the trip 6 hours. It shouldn't have been close to that. They did an extensive MRI that added so much it was crazy. It took 2 hours, but she did great. She was responsive and sleeping it off. She was talking when we woke her up. They read it as soon as possible and said it probably wasn't a stroke. And if it was smaller. They were more worried about a glioma, which in all honesty better fits her medical issues currently. But they are small, and we now have to take a wait-and-see approach and monitor to see if they grow. It is not like they can just do a brain biopsy in the doctor's office. They showed up while the kiddo was rather popular. They had to call in the ICU because she was crashing. Her blood pressure was 83/43 at one point, with a heart rate that is barely above normal. Think 100 to 110, which is normal for her. She pretty much stopped responding to anyone. Poor Dad showed up with her crashing. They were able to stabilize her and allowed her to stay on the floor with excessive monitoring. She was right between needing the ICU, but being stable enough to stay on the floor. She was doing well, and then as we were making plans for the night, the little one couldn't stay in the hospital overnight. She started crashing again. They got her stable again, and this time she woke up enough to eat and drink. Then, it was time and one of us had to leave. She survived the crash, but the danger was far from over. We were able to get a hotel room about 10 to 15 minutes away at the last minute. But I had to leave my baby. My husband made me leave. Something about sleep, having not slept in 48 hours and not being sure if he and the little one would be able to stay past Sunday. With her daughter unstable and the family exhausted, the stakes are rising. We are hoping to get into the Ronald McDonald house today, but if not, they will have to go home. On top of that, she has developed a headache that is turning into a migraine that they have spent so much time trying to treat, but it's only getting worse. They are limited on treatment options because they can't alter her mental status right now, as it's already somewhat compromised. I know he's Daddy. I know he's got it covered. I know I need the sleep. I know he's right. But I'm so mad he made me leave. And well, I just needed to vent. I've never left my kiddos any of the times they have been sick. I'm trying so hard not to be mad, but I can't help it. I just want to thank everyone for the kind words and suggestions. I really appreciate them. And everyone was right. They were able to get us in at the Ronald McDonald House, which is a huge blessing. Because of that, we will be right here at the hospital in case of an emergency. I feel safe with this option, as we can be there in 5 minutes if something happens. We will trade off from stays at night. That's where the original poster left off, but the community had some strong words of support and perspective. The top reply, from user NJCatGirl29 with 231 upvotes, put it bluntly. Try to reframe it this way, Oki. Dad is a great dad who stepped up for mom even when she didn't want to leave. You are exhausted, and you'll be no good without some sleep. I'm impressed Dad took this approach because my ex wouldn't have even been able to get little sister to get her into the big hospital. I would have had to do all of it. Be grateful you have a loving, capable, and involved husband. I hope everything goes well for your daughter, and they can diagnose and treat her quickly. But in the meantime, tag team approach is best, and everyone needs sleep. Strong words from NJCatGirl29. Another reader, Overqualified Muppet, with 182 upvotes, added this. Oh friend, I'm so sorry. From one mother who is far too accustomed to hospitals to another. This is likely to be a marathon, not a sprint. Put your anger aside and eat something and rest. Tomorrow is another day and your child needs you to be able to function. End of reply from Overqualified Muppet. Up next. My brother makes 3 times my salary, but he used my credit to get a townhouse and then took it for himself. I, a 22-year-old female, recently got a text yesterday from my brother, a 20-year-old male, about a townhouse we had signed and set utilities up for. He texted me that he decided to kick me off the lease of a place I helped him get approved for, a place I haven't even moved into yet. I was set to move in 2 months. I signed for that place with the understanding that he, his girlfriend, and I were all going to live together in it. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It has a top floor, middle floor, and basement. It's got some pretty decent space for 3 people. The idea of living together was to help cut living costs and support each other while I get back on my feet financially. I am $10,000 in credit card debt due to some family issues that occurred that were put onto me. Having this arranged was to help all of us build for a better future, so that we all could split costs evenly and figure out how to proceed in the future. But his betrayal was just getting started. Instead, after everything I've done for him over the years, he turned around and decided I'm no longer welcome there because he wants it for himself. After months of looking for a place for all 3 of us, he texts me that I'm no longer welcome. What hurts the most is that I've spent years helping him with everything he needed. I helped him get internet, utilities, his phone, and so much more. But that wasn't even the worst part. He's relied on my credit for years because mine was better than his, even though he makes over 3 times what I do working, while I survive off AISH because of some pretty heavy disabilities. I hardly survive each month and can't afford very much. Yet, I've still had better credit than him. And despite that, I'm the one being pushed out and left struggling to figure things out alone. I've been trying my best to survive, but things have gotten so hard that I've been eating dry noodles for the past month, just trying to make things stretch. Anything other than that is rare. My fridge is empty, and I'm living in my grandma's basement. I was so excited to finally have a life, to figure things out, and to have my brother's support. But I guess things don't always go the way we planned. He tried to make every excuse in the book for his decision, but then just flat out told me afterwards that he was doing it because he wants it for himself. He could have thought about it before we had done everything and got it all sorted out. He could have thought about it during the months we had been planning. It sort of in a way feels like he was using me to get approved. I have a 710 credit score, and he and his girlfriend are both under the 400 to 300 mark. We got approval because I had good credit. He got his utilities and phone because of me, because they wouldn't accept him for anything. I've helped him with it all, and now I'm stuck struggling. She gave him everything, and now she's left with nothing. I told him I was done and not providing those things for him anymore. But I feel terrible. He's my brother and I love him. Am I overreacting? Am I the jerk for this? That's where the original poster left off, but the comment section had plenty of advice for her situation. The top reply, from user NomiOK4136 with over 1,000 upvotes. Put it bluntly. Contact the landlord. If you are on the lease as the signer, he cannot kick you off. The stakes for her credit were higher than she realized. Cutting the utilities is plain common sense if you are not actually the one using them. Not the jerk. That was user NomiOK4136. Another commenter, user What97, with 545 upvotes weighed in. Not the jerk. Cut his utilities and phone. He's a user. You should also contact the leasing department and make sure you're actually not on the lease anymore. He shouldn't be able to kick you off without your consent, especially if your credit was needed for approval. He could mess up your credit if he doesn't pay the rent with you still on the lease. End of reply from user What97. Then user LadyK77, who received 222 upvotes, added this perspective. Not the jerk. And contact the actual landlord. If you sign the lease, you have every right to move in. And if they will not let you or will make life miserable if you do, you have legal recourse to remove yourself and your credit from their destruction. Also talk to your disability worker and make sure AISH knows what is going on. Strong words from user LadyK77. Let me know in the comments if you think she should fight for the townhouse or just cut ties and move on. Reddit had a lot to say about this. The top comment from u/NomiOK4136 with 1,049 upvotes reads, "Contact the landlord. If you are on the lease as the signer, he cannot kick you off. Cutting the utilities is plain common sense if you are not actually the one using them." NTA. Another reader, u/Wahaha97, added, "NTA, cut his utilities and phone. He's a user. You should also contact the leasing department and make sure you're actually not on the lease anymore. He shouldn't be able to kick you off without your consent, especially if your credit was needed for approval. He could mess up your credit if he doesn't pay the rent with you still on the lease." Another reader, u/LadyK77, added, "NTA and contact the actual landlord. If you sign the lease, you have every right to move in, and if they will not let you, or will make life miserable if you do, you have legal recourse to remove yourself and your credit from their destruction. Also talk to your disability worker and make sure AISH knows what is going on. Let me know in the comments which side you're on. We worked overtime for their $400 gift, but they sold it for a $1,200 upgrade. Last Christmas, with my brother and sister-in-law expecting their second baby, we really wanted to do something special for them. We asked what they wanted and honestly expected something around the $200 range, so we were pretty shocked when they picked out a $400 stroller. Even though it was more than we planned, we bought it anyway. We skipped exchanging gifts with each other and worked extra overtime to afford it because we were genuinely excited to give them something nice. Last weekend, they came over to my parents' house for a barbecue, and I noticed they had a completely different double stroller. I asked if the one we bought had broken, and they told me no, they just wanted a better one, so they sold ours on Facebook Marketplace and used the money toward a $1,200 stroller instead. But I can't shake this feeling of embarrassment and hurt. We bought the exact stroller they asked for, and knowing how much we sacrificed to give it to them makes it sting a little more. Am I the jerk for feeling sad about it? That's where the original poster left off, but the comment section had a lot to say. And then it got weird. The top reply, from user Sam Bartlett 1776 with 478 upvotes, put it bluntly, not the jerk, but lesson learned. Don't spend more than you can easily afford on gifts, and don't go the extra mile for them again. That was user Sam Bartlett 1776. Another commenter, user Matoiryu with 272 upvotes, weighed in with this. Not the jerk for feeling hurt, though I would also let it go and not start any drama over it. It is weird they would ask for a stroller they didn't ultimately want. Next time they hit you with a price beyond your budget, just tell them it's a little outside your budget and ask if you can get them something nice or contribute toward the expensive item instead of buying it outright. That said, you would also be justified in never offering to buy them anything again. Practical advice from user Matoiryu. Then user SilentStar2025 with 135 upvotes added, not the jerk. Your brother and sister-in-law are just inconsiderate, ungrateful people. Remember that next time they want something from you guys. End of reply from user SilentStar2025. What do you think about how the family handled the gift? Let me know in the comments which side you're on.